Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on episode 6 of JuJutsu Kaisen, and it's been crazy the last couple episodes, to say the least. I don't know. We're clearly going into Sukuna slash Yuuji's inner world. It makes me think of kind of Gollum and Smeagol, this conversation between the two of them. So we're getting that interaction. The friends, everybody thinks he's dead. And so the friends are trying to move on, and there's this training and tournament arc coming up, so they're all getting excited for that. Gojou's super ticked off because the elders apparently orchestrated Yuuji's death pretty much. They pretty much orchestrated this whole incident because they want to get Yuuji out of the picture and get Sukuna out of the picture. So lots of crazy stuff has been going on. There's this weird coroner woman that I'm curious about. But mainly just getting backstory on Fushiguro and kind of seeing a little hint at maybe some of his motivations, and yeah, just some crazy stuff going on. And I am so intrigued what we're going to do this episode. Really, really curious. It's called After Rain, so it's like the aftermath of the death and everything, which Yuji's not dead yet. He's not dead yet, technically. So, I'm really curious what we're going to do with this. So, thank you all for watching, and this episode will mark a fourth of the way through, so let's see what happens, shall we? Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction, and we are going to start episode 6 of JuJutsu Kaisen here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay. Cool. All right, so, man. All right, so this episode, so much happened. Okay, so Sukuna and Yuuji have the contract. They, like we talked about in the last episode, they've made a pact. This pact is really shady, like Yuuji commented, and that's if he says extension, if he chants it, if he does this chant inside of Yuuji has to let him take control for a minute. And he can do whatever he wants for a minute. But he's told Yuuji he won't hurt anybody. He won't kill anyone. I'm assuming that's just to get rid of curses, but he won't kill any people while he takes over for a minute. And Yuuji won't know that he's taken. He won't know that that's the trigger to take over. So technically, Sukuna can take over for a minute anytime he wants to. He just gets to decide, and Yuuji can't stop him. So that doesn't sound horrible, but on second thought, Yuuji getting his head sliced off in like a second after he said he'd fight Sukuna, like Sukuna can clearly do some damage in a minute, because they only had 10 seconds when he fought Gojou. Like Gojou just gave them 10 seconds, and in those 10 seconds they did some crazy stuff. And we're not exactly sure how long the actual fight between Fushiguro and Sukuna was. I'm assuming it was more than a minute, but clearly he can do some damage. So there's that. Gojou's freaking revolutionary, like doing some V for Vendetta, like we're gonna change things from the ground up, but I'm gonna start by doing it very nonchalantly by being this educator. Because when Gojou was on the scene, I'm like, he's not a teacher. He doesn't seem like he has a teacher vibe to him. He's way too lax. He's way too, like, wants to be away from his students. He clearly cares about them, but he doesn't seem like a teacher at all. And it makes sense now that he's like, no, I'm not a teacher, but this is the only way that I can get this revolution going, by teaching these students to grow up and be jujutsu sorcerers that are going to do good and kind of be the force of change that I want, rather than me just storming in there and, like, killing everybody. Which is a pretty bold statement, that he was like, I could just kill everybody, but then nobody's going to listen to me, and it's going to just keep perpetuating the cycle. It's like, dude, you are so confident that you can just walk up and do that. And the scary thing is, I actually think he could. So, So there's that. Gojou the Revolutionary. Yuuji, his contract with Sukuna that Yuuji doesn't even know about. I really am surprised that the coroner's like, or Shoko, her name, Shoko's just going along with this. Like, sure, I won't tell anybody. And that the middleman there, that was Gojou's driver, he's not telling anybody either. To try to buy some time for Yuuji to get stronger. Basically before the elders send another assassination attempt. Which is terrifying. But yeah, that's interesting. So they established that the exchange event is a month and a half away. And that's when Gojou wants Yuuji to make this dramatic grand entrance, which is going to be so awkward because Fushiguro and Nobara think he's dead. So Yuuji's just going to waltz in and be like, hey guys, I've been alive this whole time. Like, that's going to be so crazy. Yeah, so there's that. This training method is... I wish I could express how hilarious Yuji's quivering, waddling, sad thing was. I need a gif of it just on loop because that was amazing. And him just referencing all the different anime and manga, like Bleach and Naruto and everything. Oh, that was so good. But yeah, so Fushigoro's trying to get stronger and take some of Sakuna's advice and saying that you're like wasting your talents, there's more that you can do. While Nobara's clearly getting some training on stamina from Panda. And I'm really curious to see what Panda, Zenin, and Maki's abilities are. And we get a little bit of hints from Gojou about the second year that Fushiguro respects and one of the third years. And so we get a little bit insight to them. One's overseas, but it seems like him being overseas might have been a deliberate choice by the elders. And then there's something with one of the third years that's suspended. So I'm very, very curious. Also, on top of all this exposition, all this training setup, and everything else, we have these cursed beings and this Frankenstein-looking samurai who just basically lit an entire restaurant staff on fire and killed all of them for no reason. Just did it. And I like that the one waiter could sense the cursed energy and was like, peace out. I don't need to tell me twice. Getting out of here. And he escaped alive. But this prison realm that's going to supposedly seal Gojou, the Frankenstein guy's like, look, you can't kill him. He's too strong. So just seal him and imprison him with this. And that'll make our job easier. But this hot-headed guy, in true fashion of being metaphorically the hothead, does not seem like he's going to go along with that. And he's going to try to kill Gojou. And it's like, dude, are ya? Because I don't think you are. I don't know. Gojou's such a very odd character because usually when characters boast that they're super strong, they're not necessarily. They're strong, but they're not like the strongest. But when Gojou says it here, I'm like, I kind of believe him, which is terrifying. So I'm really curious of how this fight's going to go. But so much setup with this episode. So much setup. Like, we've gotten our characters introduced. This is a fourth of the way through the season. We've got all of our characters, or our main characters, introduced. We still have our side characters coming in, and we need to learn more about them. But our three protagonists are introduced. Gojou, our mentor, is introduced. There's clearly an antagonist in this Frankenstein-looking guy and these other curses. And Sakuna's an internal threat. And it's setting up the world. We're slowly setting up the world building here. That there's contracts, how JuJutsu works, how you can channel emotions. That there's some things you're born with, and there's some things that you can learn. So we're setting all of this up, which is really fascinating to me. So yeah, so Gojou versus this guy next episode. And we get more training with Yuuji. I'm so glad to have Yuuji back because the last episode, like, I really am liking Fushigoro's character a lot. Like, him showing his true colors, like going to that woman's house and apologizing and taking the time to reflect. Like, Fushiguro is a genuinely nice person and I really like his character. But man, Yuji's so funny that I'm so ready for them to reunite with Nobara and Fushiguro. I'm so ready for them all to reunite. I really am. And I'm curious how that's going to go down. So this was, again, a really good episode. For being an exposition episode setting stuff up, this is pretty good. So I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. I hope you all feel free to comment down below. Please, no spoilers, but I hope you all have enjoyed this. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please stay safe and take care. And I'll be back next week with more JuJutsu Kaisen. Bye.